What's good, Skull Nation? Pull up a chair, grab your favorite purple jersey, and buckle up because what I'm about to tell you is going to shake you to your core. We're talking about 3 earth-shattering stories coming out of Vikings training camp that have the entire NFL world buzzing. And trust me when I say this, you ain't ready for what's been going down in Egan. Picture this. You wake up thinking it's going to be another regular Tuesday in Vikings camp. Maybe catch some highlights of our boy McCarthy slinging dimes. Maybe see Justin Jefferson making defenders look foolish. But no. Instead, we got drama that would make a soap opera writer jealous, injuries that got the whole fan base holding their breath, and trade rumors that could completely flip our secondary upside down. I'm talking about struggles that nobody saw coming, a superstar going down when we need him most, and front office moves that could either save our season or leave us scratching our heads wondering what the hell just happened. And here's the kicker. All 3 of these stories are connected in ways that Kevin O'Connell probably didn't see coming when he was drawing up his master plan for 2025. Now I know what you're thinking. Just tell us what happened already. But hold up, Skull Nation, because the way these dominoes fell is gonna blow your mind. We got a young quarterback fighting for his NFL life. A Hall of Fame receiver whose body might be betraying him at the worst possible time, and a potential trade that could either be the missing piece or the biggest gamble Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah has ever made. You think you know pressure? Try being JJJ. McCarthy right now, walking into that TCO Performance Center knowing that every single throw, every single read, every single decision is being scrutinized like he's already a 10-year veteran instead of a kid who missed his entire rookie season. The whispers are getting louder, the doubts are creeping in, and what happened in Tuesday's red zone practice might just be the tip of the iceberg. So here's what we're gonna do. I want every single one of you to hit that like button right now if you're ready for the truth, no matter how brutal it might be. Drop a comment telling me if you still believe in this team or if you're starting to worry that maybe, just maybe, we're in for another year of heartbreak. And make sure you're subscribed with notifications on because this story is developing faster than a Justin Jefferson slant route. The first bombshell involves our franchise quarterback, and what went down in practice is going to make you question everything you thought you knew about this kid's readiness. Skull Nation, you better hold on to something because part 2 is where the real drama begins. And trust me, you ain't ready for what McCarthy is really dealing with behind closed doors. Alright, Skull Nation, it's time to rip the band-aid off and talk about the elephant in the room. JJJ. McCarthy is struggling, and I mean struggling, in ways that should have every Vikings fan concerned about what we're walking into come September 8th against the Bears. Here's the cold, hard truth that nobody wants to admit. Our golden boy went 3 for 11 in Tuesday's red zone session. 3 for 11, people. That's not just bad, that's historically terrible for a guy who's supposed to be our franchise savior. The Minnesota defense, which can make veteran quarterbacks wet themselves at times, has reportedly been in McCarthy's face quite a bit the past several practices. But here's what's really eating at me, and it should be eating at you too. McCarthy himself admitted something that should send chills down every purple spine in Minnesota. He said, not having those reps last year, that's something you miss out on when you take a substantial amount of time off from throwing the football. You gotta find that touch again. Touch, Skull Nation. He's talking about having to find his touch again. Now I get it. The kid missed an entire season with that knee injury, and nobody expected him to come back looking like Tom Brady in his prime. But damn it, we traded up to get this kid, we let Sam Darnold walk to Seattle, and we're betting the entire franchise on a quarterback who's admitting he's still trying to find his rhythm against a defense that's making him look like he's never played the position before. At one point, going 3 for 11 against the first team defense. That's not growing pains, that's a 5-alarm fire that nobody wants to talk about. Kevin O'Connell can spin it all he wants about learning moments and constant improvement, but when your franchise quarterback can't complete a third of his passes in the red zone, where games are won and lost, you got problems. But here's where it gets even more complicated, and this is where the dominoes start falling. While JJ, McCarthy is out there fighting for his NFL life, trying to prove he can handle Brian Flores' defense in practice. Another catastrophe was brewing that nobody saw coming. Because just when you thought things couldn't get worse for a young quarterback's development, the football gods decided to test this team in ways that would make even the most optimistic fan start reaching for their backup jersey. The second story I'm about to drop on you involves the one player JJJ. McCarthy was counting on most. The one guy who could make his life easier while he's still learning Kevin O'Connell's system. And what happened to this player is gonna make you understand why McCarthy's struggles might be just the beginning of our problems. Hold on to your horned helmets, Skull Nation, because if McCarthy's struggles weren't enough to keep you up at night, what I'm about to tell you about Justin Jefferson is gonna have you questioning if the football gods have officially cursed this purple franchise. Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell spoke to Twin Cities media members prior to Friday's training camp practice session and told them Jefferson is expected to miss a little bit of practice time with what O'Connell described as a very minor left hamstring strain. Minor! Tell me how anything involving Justin Jefferson's hamstring is minor when this is the same injury that cost us 7 games in 2023. Here's what really happened, and this is where it gets scary. Jefferson started Thursday's practice, but shut it down early after experiencing what he described as tightness in his legs. Tightness in his legs! The man who just signed a 4-year, $140 million contract extension, the guy who was supposed to be JJ, McCarthy's security blanket, while he's still learning the system, is now dealing with the same body part that derailed our entire 2023 season. And you want to know what the most frustrating part is? Jefferson missed 7 games during the 2023 season with a right hamstring injury and has emphasized multiple times the importance of being cautious. Right hamstring in 2023, left hamstring in 2025. It's like watching a horror movie sequel where the monster just keeps coming back. But wait, it gets worse. The wide receiver will miss most of training camp and all of the preseason. Most of training camp, all of the preseason. So while McCarthy is out there struggling to complete passes against our defense, his number one weapon, his go-to guy, his safety net, is sitting on the sidelines watching from the medical tent. Jefferson, wearing a purple number 18 t-shirt, on the field with his teammate's son's helmet, trying to stay engaged while his body betrays him at the worst possible time. Can you imagine the pressure on McCarthy right now? His franchise quarterback debut is 6 weeks away. He's already struggling in practice. And now his Hall of Fame receiver is wrapped in bubble wrap until September. Here's what nobody's talking about, but everyone should be terrified of. What if this isn't just a minor strain? What if we're looking at another extended absence? When Jefferson majorly injured his hamstring in 2023, the team went on a winning streak, oddly enough. Yeah. With a de facto rookie quarterback in the mix, McCarthy, who's never taken a regular season snap, potentially rolling without Jefferson just feels like ugly business. The timing couldn't be worse. Skull Nation, just when our young quarterback needs all the help he can get, just when chemistry building should be the number one priority, our best player is watching from the sidelines, hoping his legs don't fall apart before the season even starts. But here's where this story takes another crazy turn, because while McCarthy is struggling and Justin Jefferson is hurt, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah is apparently cooking up something that could either save our secondary or blow up in spectacular fashion. The third piece of this puzzle involves a trade rumor that's got Browns fans nervous and Vikings fans split right down the middle. Skull Nation, buckle up, because this final twist is going to leave your head spinning faster than a Dalvin Cook juke move. While McCarthy's struggling and Justin Jefferson's hamstring is falling apart, our boy Kwesi Adofo-Mensah is apparently working the phones trying to pull off a trade that could either be genius or the biggest head scratcher since we drafted Christian Ponder in the first round. The latest Vikings rumors swirl around a potential trade for Cleveland Browns cornerback Greg Newsome II. And here's where it gets juicy. Vikings general manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah worked in the Browns front office when Cleveland drafted Newsome II in 2021. So we got our GM trying to reunite with a player he helped draft. It's like watching your ex try to get back together with their high school sweetheart. But here's the million-dollar question that's got Browns fans panicking and Vikings fans debating. Why would the Browns give up such a young chess piece? Despite his draft reputation, Newsome managed just 3 starts in Jim Schwartz's unit in 2024, and he's headed into a contract year. 3 starts! We're talking about trading assets for a guy who couldn't crack the starting lineup for a Browns defense that got torched all season long. Now look, I get why Kwesi wants him. Jeff Okudah and Isaiah Rodgers are currently expected to start on the boundary, but those two were backups with the Houston Texans and Philadelphia Eagles respectively last season. Our secondary needs help, and Newsome too has the talent when he's actually on the field. But is this really the time to be making risky trades when we got bigger problems brewing? Think about it. Skull Nation, our franchise quarterback can barely complete a third of his passes in practice. Our $140 million receiver is held together with medical tape and prayers, and we're worried about trading for a cornerback who couldn't beat out Denzel Ward for a starting job. It's like worrying about the color of your curtains while your house is on fire. This rumor really makes sense for the Vikings and should be monitored all the way up to the November trade deadline. But here's what makes sense to me. Fix the problems we can control first. Get JJ McCarthy comfortable in the system. Pray that Justin Jefferson's hamstring holds up for 17 games. And then worry about upgrading positions where we're not completely screwed if things go wrong. But you know what? Maybe I'm being too negative. Maybe Kwesi sees something in Greg Newsome too that the rest of us don't. Maybe this trade happens. Maybe he becomes the shutdown corner we've been missing since Antoine Winfield Jr. left town. And maybe all 3 of these stories end up being exactly what this team needed to get over the hump. Or maybe we're watching the beginning of another classic Viking season where everything that can go wrong does go wrong. Where our young quarterback never finds his rhythm, where our superstar receiver spends half the season in the training room, and where our big trade acquisition ends up being just another guy who looked better on paper than on the field. Here's what I need from you, Skull Nation. Hit that like button if you still believe this team can overcome all this drama and make a playoff run. Smash that subscribe button if you want the real truth about what's happening with your Vikings. No sugarcoating, no false hope, just straight facts. And drop a comment telling me, are you team trade for Newsome too? Or should we focus on fixing the problems we already have? Because mark my words, how these 3 stories play out over the next 6 weeks is going to determine whether we're talking Super Bowl or another year of what if come January. The JJ McCarthy era is about to begin. Justin Jefferson's health is going to make or break our season, and whatever Kwesi decides to do with these trade rumors could be the difference between glory and disaster. Next week, I'm diving deep into what Kevin O'Connell is really thinking behind closed doors. And trust me, what I found out about his conversations with the front office is gonna shock you. Until then, Skull Nation, keep the faith, keep the purple flying, and remember, in Minnesota, we don't rebuild, we reload. Skull!